Check this.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Be Encouraged. It's myself and my good buddy Derek Pearson is also here. What's up, DP?
Good morning, kind sir.
How you feeling today?
It's a good day. It's a blessed day. Let's do something good with it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Have you been watching the Olympics?
I have. Have a couple of friends who have kids who are participating in the Olympics. One playing basketball for Italy. One has a daughter that's playing U.S. women's rugby.
Nice.
Other that's a sprinter. So it's been fun to watch the parents kind of go through the process. It's different because they normally parents who have a child who are going to the Olympics, that's a big part of it is
Sure.
going, and so they've had to do it from afar, but it's been cool to watch them kind of celebrate the successes of their young people.
That's cool. That's very cool. No, how about last night? Well, not last night, this morning at 3 a.m., I got a cramp in my foot and my leg. So I got up to work it out and decided, well, it's live right now. So let me go put on the Olympics. And I watched the 200-meter hurdles. That guy from Norway. What? I mean, he shattered the world record. And our guy beat the world record, but unfortunately he was second place. So, but he was great, man. He was also I was very impressive.
Yeah, to think about it this way, to go back in history, that Edwin Moses set that record 40 years ago, and nobody touched it. Nobody touched it for 40 years.
That's crazy.
To me, in track, 400 meters is those are the great athletes. Those are aliens. Like, if you watch them run, just running 400 meters is torture. Running 400 meters hurdles is a new level of torture. And those are the people I have the most respect for, because I'm pretty athletic. There's nothing about a 400-meter hurdle that I want to be a part of.
Did you do track at school?
I did. I was at AAU junior national competitor. I was number 3 in my age group in the state of Virginia at long jump. I think we still hold like sprint records there in Arlington for junior high, and in high school.
Junior high, okay.
Well, once I got to high school, I had to make the decision: was I going to play basketball and baseball, or was I going to run track? And my track coach made some concessions because he needed me as a long jumper. So I would go to baseball practice, have on my spikes and my practice gear, go to practice, and then run back across the street and change from spikes to
spikes.
I would from spikes to spikes.
Spikes.
And I would go and long jump. I would long jump the meets, and then I'd go back to baseball. So
yeah. No, and I've heard of that. We've had, at Falls Church and at Jeb Stewart, which is now Justice, we had athletes that were every coach needed them, and it was and they made, especially female athletes. We had some female athletes that played freaking 6 sports in a school year. 6 sports in a school year. That's crazy. And she went on and she was also an NCAA superstar goalie. That's what she had to finally narrow down where she wanted to be. And I think she could be playing pro if she wanted to, but she wants to get into business and also sports management and stuff like that. So that's what she did with her degree. And so she didn't move out to play. But I watched her as a high schooler, and being a person who I know about most sports, and I'm pretty familiar with most sports and the technical way that people should do things. People ask me, people go, "What do you know about diving?" Dude, I just listen. I listen to what the commentators and what the experts are saying to look for, and then I look for that. It's not hard. You know what I mean? It's not, I just listen to those guys. And when they're talking about the way they come into the water, all these different things, and I just pay attention to it. I don't really know necessarily the points that come off or go on for different things, but I know what's a good jump. What's a good dive. I mean, that's a good dive. I know it's a good jump in long jump. I listen to those guys talk about how you have to release, and when the guy puts his foot down before the board, he's taken like 4 or 5 inches away from his jump, because he didn't place his foot right. I mean, there's so many things, and I'm a big sports, I'm not a fanatic for players, but for the sports themselves. I love watching people play baseball. I don't care who's playing. I love I love watching soccer. I don't care who's playing. I love watching football. I don't care who's playing. I just love the sport, and I love to see the guys. And of course, I know who some of the stars and things like that are. But I'm a big fan of the Olympics. I love everything from the twirly twirl gymnast girls. I love watching that, and to synchronized swimming, which I can't wait for that to start, because that's I don't know how those girls do that, man. I that is just like you said, 400-meter hurdles. Watching those girls underwater spinning around upside down, and I mean, man, I'm so impressed with that. That is so impressive to watch them do that, and I'm so impressed with Simone Biles winning the bronze in the beam, and I'm glad she finally she was able to do that. I didn't see the routine, so I don't know. They were talking about that she may back off her dismount because that's one of those places where the twisties get you. And so maybe she did that, and that's why she got the bronze. She may not have had the same dismount that everybody else had. Are you familiar with what happened with Simone?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, her skill set is so elite
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so different that they can't score her properly. Like the judges have said, she's so far above the competition that we don't know how to score what she does. Like it's at a disadvantage. And you're right, she's the greatest ever. And for people that want to spend their time poking fun at Olympians who have some stress, just don't.
Can you
Just
imagine the stress? I mean, I
just
know
don't.
I had stress playing goalie in house soccer. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
even imagine on that level.
Well, I mean, she went through. I mean, she had broken bones. She had injuries
Oh yeah,
she didn't even talk to people about. She had the stress of being in a place and listening to the Olympic leadership not protect the young ladies who perform these sports, and so she's carrying a burden
yeah, yeah,
that most of us would never understand. It's our job to be understanding of people's humanity. It's not our job to judge. It's our job to stand in support for somebody that puts her body at risk and herself at risk to
yeah.
represent the United States at the highest level and the highest form.
Right, right. And and people don't understand. I'm again listening to the experts, listening to the former gymnasts, listening to them talk about what Simone's going through, and knowing that it's authentic. I mean, it's really, really what she's happening with her, and it's something that she probably hasn't experienced very much in her career, but it's happening now, and unfortunately, the bad timing. It's coming in this mental stress, but that's what's causing it. I'm sure is where she's at. So,
Well, I mean, just think that in her sport, in her world, this is the apex. So who would choose to go through this
uh-huh.
at
Yes,
the
sir.
moment where it has the most value for her, and where she's put the most energy? Well, most of the people who are criticizing her couldn't do a cartwheel. Right, right. They couldn't get off the court. They couldn't do a standing backflip. They couldn't do anything that she does. They couldn't even get up on the rings. They
Yeah,
couldn't jump up on the pommel. Like just on the beam. Let let athletes be athletes. It's
exactly.
there's so much envy and venom out there. Don't be that person.
Right.
I was always taught that. Well, geez, the Olympians are the best of us, and that's why we rally for them. They're
Hmm.
representing all of us, and why
That's
would
right.
you want to criticize somebody that is simply out there sacrificing for the
Yeah.
best?
Yeah. No, I was flipping through something yesterday and saw somebody cranking on her, and I just commented,
Well, I just asked.
have some love in your heart and understanding that people go through stuff. You morons, you don't think I didn't say that, but I said I said you think by now you guys would understand what's going on with mental health. And that's all I said. And I never went back to it. I don't care. I just said, listen, don't you think you'd understand about mental health right now? And the thing is, everybody suffers from mental health issues at some level.
Well,
And, you know,
there's simplicity in our humanity. Like, just be a decent human. If somebody's telling you you're struggling, the human part of you should lean in and be concerned about why. Like, and most of the people who are criticizing her, again, have no understanding of what it takes to be an athlete at that level. Like, they have no idea. Like, you
no,
can't. Like, I had a friend who made the comparison and said, well, they struggled when they were in high school, and I said, okay, not the same.
that's exactly what I was about to say. I was about to
Not
say, Derek,
the same.
I can't imagine what a high school gymnast goes through, much less somebody who's at the elite level of the Olympics. I mean, I watch these high school kids do gymnastics, and I'm awed. I'm in awe, and it's just it. I go, wow, it's amazing to watch how nimble and how acutely aware they are of where they are, and but then and that's like 500 more levels to go to the Olympics.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean, the best in the world. Again, it's mortals who are trying to critique and lessen the greatest athletes on the planet.
yes,
Like
and they
it's
are.
like that to me helps me identify who people are.
Yeah, yeah,
That that look, if you could do one thing that she could do, cool. Go ahead and
yeah.
have your say. But there's too much. I don't have the desire to beat people up
No,
who
right.
perform whether it's movies, comedy, athletics, uh, technology, whatever it is that people perform at the highest level. It's not my place to criticize them. It's
Right,
just
right. Well, it's and one of the things that I always think about, having done covered high school sports, and talking about how many kids are involved in high school sports. How many kids? I mean, thousands, hundred thousands of kids are involved in high school sports, and I don't know how many of them. Not all of them want to go on and play more, but they're not gonna. They just don't have the skill set to go to the next level. And and that's another thousands of kids that are never going to go past high school in the sport they love. Even if they love the sport and they're pretty decent at it in high school, they're not going to step to the next level. They might, keep playing for the rest of their lives in rec leagues and stuff like that, fine. But then after college, you're talking about the pro level. And then at the pro level, you have all stars. I mean, you're just looking at these levels of athleticism, and how many players are in the pros? Not thousands. It's just crazy, the difference between. And you have parents that are willing to pay for videos and all this kind of stuff for their kids so they can go to college. And the coaches, not all the coaches obviously, but I've dealt with a couple of coaches that have their own business doing that, making videos of these kids. And I'm like, dude. And the guy told me, he said, I want to say to these, I mean, it's my business and everything, but I want to say to these parents, he ain't going anywhere. I don't care how many videos I make, he's not gonna make it. And therefore, he said, there's been times when he said, listen, I'm not going to do the videos and stuff and charge you the money because it's not worth it, and your kid's not going to make it. And I'm not saying he's not a good high school player, but so what do you say? I
Well,
was going to talk about Fortitude today, but
well,
we got off already.
that leads to that because there are people um, who have had success. There's actually a kid that pitched. He's there from Fairfax. Um, Pitched at Woodson. Um, had some success as a travel all star and such. Didn't get to go to a school at the level that he thought he would. Bounced from one school to another because he simply felt like he needed to get better. And by the time he gets to his junior year, he's been to two schools. He gets a third offer finally to go pitch at Alabama. Well, he could have quit. He could have stayed where he was. He could have accepted uh, competition at the lower level. He didn't. And there are
Right.
people that say that, hey, no, you can't do that. No, you're not good enough. Hey, you're not. But there's that thing called fortitude where listen, if it's
Hmm.
important to you, you can find a way. And for those people who are willing to go through the wall and around the wall and over the wall,
Yeah.
bravo. Like it shouldn't be like I'm not the no police. It's not my job to tell somebody that they're not good enough um, to
Yeah.
to to play at the next level. That's not my place. Um, and nor should it be. But in today's game, technology has evolved where players can make their own tape. I mean, we don't
Yep.
have to. Like, I'm not sure. Like, most players don't need a tape made.
Right.
They've got games are recorded. There's a company called Huddle. There's three or four companies like it that allow student athletes to produce their own videos with the click of a button, showing plays, highlights, and such, and put them together, and then package them and send them out. So anybody that's being recruited now, and pretty much regardless of the sport, has a Huddle account that's set up by the school or the team. The player can go in and pick the plays that they want accumulated into a file, and then they simply share that file. They share that link to
Mm.
coaches around the country. Or if a coach was interested and curious about a kid, he simply tracks that kid on social media, and then on that kid's social media, there's a link to show, hey, here's my highlights, here's what I do.
Yeah.
It's through that recruiting has become more specialized and more focused. It's hard if you can play, somebody will find you.
Right. That's right.
And it's rare now. Like recruiting for me back in 1979, 1980 was handwritten letters and a referral from some other coach that knew the coach that was looking for a player at that position. That's how it was done. They may come to your game and sit there, but odds on, if they didn't know you before the game, they probably weren't going to know you after the game unless you were the person there. So for coaches, it's your job to keep facilitating growth. Like there's no like simple. It's your job that if a student athlete or player wants to come to you and improve, you help them.
Right.
And I don't worry about the other stuff because if I've coached properly, their grades are in order, their social life is in order, their community stuff is in order, and that allows them to be recruited. If you average 30 points a game and your GPA is 1.5, well, you're not going to go many places. But if you average 10 points a game and your GPA is 4.0, well, now you're in business because no college coach wants to give you $250,000 tuition only to have you flunk out.
Right.
That's a coach killer. That's a job killer. So the fortitude is there for people who want to work. I applaud those folks. I help those folks. You say help those who help themselves. Well, fortitude is required for most coaches to reach out and help a kid go forward.
Well, and like actually, just like what you were saying, one of the things that I'd like to make sure that I've talked to kids who I'm either coaching or I just happen to have a chance to talk to them because they're at an elite level and and I just got a chance, and exciting to talk to kids that are working that hard. But I tell them, I said, you know what? Please don't believe you got to work really hard, but please don't believe so that you don't get disappointed that as long as you work hard, you can get and go anywhere you want to go. There's too many other people making decisions that affect where you're going to go that you have no control over, and you can be the best. And if some guy in Alabama doesn't like the way you look, or some guy at Clemson thinks, oh, we don't need him. He's not big enough, or whatever, he didn't fit the mold of the middle linebacker, which I know happened with Robinson, with Alex Marco Giannakis, who was one of the best middle linebackers I've ever seen watch play the game. He was on every hole, hits hard. No one could run him over. I mean, he was amazing player, but he was like 5'9", 5'10". You right? And so when the coach talked to Beamer at Virginia Tech, he said, I'd love to have him walk on, but I can't give him a scholarship right now because of all of our boosters and stuff. They're going to say 5'10", middle. Are you kidding? What are you giving a scholarship to a guy who's 5'10"? Not that, and that's all they cared about. They wanted somebody who looks the part. They didn't care that this guy's one of the best, most heat-seeking missiles at middle linebacker that you'll ever see, and he can call the defense. That was the other thing too. He was the captain of the defense, and he called the defensive plays. Obviously were sent into him most of the time, but he called the audibles, and when he saw the offense set up a different way than they were expecting, he had, of course, Mark Bendorf always had great linebackers, but Marco was amazing to watch play football, and I think it was a travesty. He did walk on at Virginia Tech, and he did play in games, but I don't think he ever got offered a scholarship. I think he just went there. I'm sure they got money for him and stuff, other ways.
There are the basic metrics. What I tell and several of the coaches, my coaching buddies, all work from this. That we ask people to find, when you identify places you want to go and play, go to their roster and look up and down for guys that play your position. And what are the common threads in those things? You have to be able to see yourself in that group.
Right.
Because if you can't see yourself in that group, they're not going to see yourself in that group. And 5'9" linebackers, they do happen, but they're rare.
Right.
They're rare.
Right.
And it's not because of bias. It's because from a physicality standpoint, the wear and tear on a 5'9", 205-pound middle linebacker, especially in today's game with 330-pound centers and guards banging on you, leaning on you over the course of a season, it's just a lot. And we don't tell people, no, don't do it. We simply say it's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's one thing to be a 200-pound linebacker amongst 240-pound linemen. It's a whole different story when it's 340-pound linemen who are leaning on you in that way. But I still, Nick Bonacani made it as a small linebacker.
Yeah.
Sam Mills made it as a small linebacker.
Sam Mills, that's the one I was thinking of.
London Fletcher from
London Fletcher, that's the other one I was thinking of. He was a beast.
But those are exceptions to the rule.
Right. But you notice that usually when guys that size make it to the next level, they're superstars. I mean, they're superstars because they had to be at that size.
You have to excel. You're not just out there for optics. At some point, you've got to deliver and make plays. But I tell people, just your control. You're up to what you can control about yourself. Like that's going to be the thing, and you do everything you can do, and then you let the universe do what it does, because the universe generally pays attention.
Yes.
Those with that tremendous sort of work ethic.
Yes.
Fortitude is required that when in competition, and that's the very nature of competition, there's going to be friction and resistance. You better figure out how to get to past the friction to get to the greatness.
You're absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely. And that's the key. And I don't say what I said about, you can't always get what you want by working hard. You know what? You're right. Most of the time you can. If you just work hard and do everything that you need to do, and things progress the way that they should, you should be able to pretty much, and that's anything, artwork, being an artist, being a broadcaster, whatever it is, it's something that you work hard at, and then you just let the chips fall and say, and you go after what you want to go after, but you got to let the chips fall, and you can't get yourself. You just keep the fortitude. You got to have the fortitude to keep going when, like in the radio business. I want to go work for the radio station. They say, well, you don't have enough experience and whatever. And so, if you really want that, then you go to the next radio station. And then you go to the next, and guess what? Somebody's going to say, we need a jock. Come on in.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the case. I mean, I certainly, I've certainly been said no to more than I've been said yes to. That's this business, and that's whether as a broadcaster, as a coach, whatever I've done professionally, I've been said no to by people way more than the people said yes. But those yeses were worth it.
Yes, sir.
Because it allowed me to go to work and get things done. And then, from this point forward, I mean, the beauty of being in this situation is I've outlasted a lot of people that said no to me. So
yeah, exactly.
There's that.
That's what you call fortitude, baby.
There's that.
There you go, Derek. Hey, DP, thank you so much. How was your birthday week last week? Was it good?
A great week. Ate too much, slept too much. But that's the way you're supposed to bring in another orbiter.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, God bless you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for all your insights. We love them. It's wonderful. Peace and love to you, my good friend.
Yes,
and keep watching those Olympics. We're going to keep rooting for those American everybody. I mean, anybody on the American team. Go America, go USA. So thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
See you, bro.